Hey guys, hope everybody's had a wonderful couple of days and is staying warm. Sprite, don't get upset. But it is 37 degrees here and kind of breezy at the moment. And I didn't turn the heat on in here ahead of time, so it's a bit cool. So I'm wearing my jacket. But they are predicting the possibility of snow down here for Sunday morning. So if so, I want to be prepared to go darting out there and throw up a tarp or something and just sit and enjoy it. I hadn't, got to. And the big snow hit the last year, I didn't have the opportunity, but this time I'm kind of ready to go. Hello, Gray Wolf. Hippo, good evening. Kent Aldridge, how you doing, brother? And Ronald Green, how you doing? Bears in the house, good evening, brother. Mopar, good evening. Predicting above zero here for the first time in weeks. Awesome. Jeff, good evening to Missouri. Onyet. Dropping, it is dropping up here in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. Okay. JB Singer, good evening. Terry, good evening. You trucking in PA about to run the snow. Gotcha. Johnny Five, good evening. Hey there, Stephanie. How you doing? Yeah, it's it's winter. It's January. I expect this in January. I had somebody say, are you tired of the cold? No. We have 8 months of heat. I'll take my little couple of months of cool. It's all I get. So, yeah, now if this hit in June, I'd be shocked. But it's kind of January. We kind of expect that down here. And so we're having the alternating between wet and cold. And that's the only chance we can get snow. Because by the time that Arctic blast gets down to us, it's dropped all its snow. It's dry. And so you have to have two things. One, just like we had last year, you've got to have a cold Arctic blast come in and chill us down, cool the ground down, everything. And it's got to stay that way for a couple of days. Then it's got to move out quickly. It suck in moisture off the Gulf and a second front run into it. That's how we get snow. And that's exactly what they're predicting for Sunday morning. So fingers crossed. Tim Lacey, hello to Paris, Tennessee. They're coming along great for February. I understand that the first batch has shipped to me, and I should have the first group to me on Monday. So if it comes in Monday, I'll be shipping out Wednesday. So, but at this point, everything is on the books, and we are using a different way of shipping. We're not shipping the way we were. So with any luck, everything will be to me this coming week, and I will ship it out. If everything does show up between now and then, and I have got to ship it out, then next Thursday I will announce it's out and we'll start another run. You just hang on to there. Jeff, hello to Newfoundland, Canada. Oh, yeah, Charles, it's kind of cool up there in West Virginia. I bet it is. Oh, you got your Gransford Small Forest Hacks. Good. Gray Wolf. You're up like they are. You're up there in that cold country where you got kind of softer woods anyway, just like they got in Europe. And those Gransford Brooks are really, really good axes for that. Tad, hello there. Ooh, I wish I could blow up the names, make it so much easier to see. Oh, Ricky Brock, hello to Ruska, Georgia. Hippo, as soon as we get them, they'll be going out. Like I said, after that last fiasco where our stuff, and I have someone that may be on here tonight. He was in Austria, and right before all these tariffs hit, he had purchased a set, and I had sent it. And somehow, in the infinite wisdom of the U.S. Postal Service, they sent it to Australia instead of Austria. So we're trying to get it sent from Australia to Austria and not come all the way back to me, because then I don't know if I can ship it then. When I went and talked to UPS about possibly shipping it over, they said $275 to ship it. It's just ridiculous right now. So we just got to hang in there. Outdoor, hello there to Austria. Good evening. I was just telling them about our plight with getting your stuff to you. Hoggy, hello there. Justin, good evening, brother. Austria, I have contacted them, went up there and told them they're putting an investigation in on their side. Said give her a couple of days, because it kind of dropped off on our books once it got to destination. But I brought the information to her, and she could see where I'd put in a request earlier, and so we're going to see if we can reopen that or whatever. So hang in there. We're going to do what we can. I can't guarantee miracles. We're fighting governments. God knows how that always works, but we will do our best. Oh yes, the fun of postal. Ralph Williams, good evening. Oh, cool. You got the M65. I'm going to see you make some pockets. Good. Rock, hello there. Whew. Boy, guys, my nose is suddenly just itching like crazy. Health preacher, cold in West Virginia. I hear you. Well, that Arctic front's going to be getting down to me. Should have steamrolled over y'all today. It's going to be rolling into me on Saturday night. So. Hello to Jackie from Ohio. Ooh, I'm trying to decide between a Ruger number 3 and a Browning made Winchester high wall. Ooh, that's a tough choice, brother. Both of those were really good quality guns. Ooh. Well, the high wall is thinner and side profile than the Ruger was, I believe. So that might be one consideration. But you laid both those on the table, it's going to be a hard choice. They had the accuracy. BK, hello there. And so it'd be a hard choice to decide which one of those was a better choice. It'd come down to price, which was cheaper, because the quality is there on both of those. Justin, everything go okay on your trip today? Yes. Are you going to be doing a video with a Cordura Nighthawk? Yes. She's putting them onto her website. My niece, Trinity, at Made Ready Gear, she is now making all of the Blackbird stuff, the haversack, the rucksack, the Sparrowhawk side pouches, the Weehawk, and maybe even a size between the Weehawk and Sparrowhawk side pouch for an extra thing. So she's got them up on her website now. And I will be doing, I'm just waiting for her to give me the thumbs up, because she's making them ahead. She does them in batch runs. She's making it ahead. But if you want to jump over to her site and kind of get in under the wire, wouldn't be a bad idea. And I had been running around doing some field trials for her. Only had to make 2 little tweaks, and she took care of that like that. So all the production ones will have the little improvement. It was nothing. It's just the way you put something A and it should have been B. No big deal. Okay, Justin, I hear you. That's going to be a big adventure for you. Hello to Fort Royal, Virginia. Or is it Front? Front Royal, Virginia. Okay. Yep. Oh, Justin's going to be going overseas and he won't be able to come to the spring gathering, which is going to be March 23rd through the 29th. And we are kind of entertaining the idea of doing a class that was going to be, remember we were doing Silver Wolves. Well, we're talking about doing a class immediately before my fall gathering. We're in the baby details yet. Do not get excited. But we're talking about doing a basic class. Rather than, specifically for Silver Wolves, we're going to open it up where Silver Wolves are welcome. But at the same time, we're going to basic skills. We're going to talk about, I'm going to teach fire class. And we're thinking about doing like a 2-hour class type deal where it will not just be me and doing talking. You're going to be doing hands-on. And we're talking about doing that. And we're bouncing around a couple of instructors and we're going to see what we do. And rather than doing varieties of classes, we're doing depth of classes is what we're talking about. And we're thinking about doing that in October whenever I get a date. It's just right now, we're just really tentative. Okay. But I have recovered enough. And after my stroke, I really didn't want to get it in front of anybody until I kind of hardwired a little bit better. And I'd get overwhelmed. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was just like my brain couldn't process it fast enough. And it's like I was missing big things. And it's just simply that my brain was rewiring. And I haven't felt that way since about June. And so talking to the doctors and all, what they're saying, said, you're about as good as you're going to get. And I don't feel overwhelmed easy. I can have multiple people talking at me at one time, carrying multiple conversations, and I don't get overloaded where I just like, hold it. Everybody shut up a minute. It's like too many kids hollering in a room. But I didn't want to do that, especially get up in front of class or something, and then suddenly just couldn't function. And so I needed the time to recover. So we've taken the year, and I think I have recovered enough, God willing. And so we're talking about starting it starting it in October. And that may kick off of something that like every 3 or 4 months do a class. There'll be like 4 classes a year after that. The guys at the Fuel the Fire have agreed to be instructors and back me up, so I won't have to pull as much load, and where I can be there and spend more time with the students when they need one-on-one type deal. But again, once we work out some details, I will do an official video. That's just, you guys are my behind the scenes. You get to hear things for anybody else. So I throw it out there for y'all. All right, let me catch back up. Cow Tipper, hello there, Louisiana. Yep, that brain fog. It was really bad after the stroke, but now it's not nearly as bad. Is the Euro Arms Rogers and Spencer reproduction available to order again? I don't believe it is. I haven't seen it, but I was so lucky to stumble into mine. And y'all probably saw, if you follow my Facebook page, I went up this last Saturday and spent a little bit of time with Mark Hubbs of Arrows Gone Bullet Molds. And we had a nice discussion, and that will be posting this Saturday. So that's coming up. He also gifted me a mold I didn't have, which is the Colt Dragoon mold, and it makes that big bullet. I think it's like 249 grains or something like that. and it's the 1850 Dragoon bullet. I'm going to try that out in my Dragoon and the Rogers and Spencer, because like I said, that thing is a Dragoon. It just, they never mentioned the fact it's got a 50 grain capacity. So that will be coming up. Kent, how is Sir Grouch doing? He has not had surgery yet. It's going to be a little bit later, but he's doing wonderful, and I hope to go see him very soon and go visit, and we'll do a video. Okay. All right. If it's delivered to me and we get it back in hand, then we'll start looking for a way to get it to you, brother. Austria. Yeah, we're going to see what we can do. BK, awesome. Yeah, come on down and spend it with us. Dale Morris, good evening. No, Phil Coffins. It's not worth buying undersized pre-made cartridges. It ain't. The accuracy is not there, and if it does not fit and give you accuracy, why even bother making cartridges out of it? I always start with components and then go back. And like I said, I have made up paper cartridges from time to time, and they're fun, they're interesting, but really the Dixie tubes are far more practical for field carry. You just dump the loose powder in and push the thing into the tube. You get there, you pop it out, pour the powder, set it up there, and ram it. I mean, you can't get much easier than that, and they're reloadable. I've got some tubes I've reloaded for 20 years, and they're not expensive from Dixie Gunworks. So I like the look of the paper cartridge, but in reality, they're not that practical. They're too easy to damage and break open. Yeah, Gray Wolf, I hear you. Oh, have you tried calling Dixie Gun Works? Because a lot of times they have some parts guns in the back room that were pieces parts, and they usually know better than just about anybody if something's available. Oh, JP Fearless. Good evening, Jonathan. Hello there, brother. You have the Lee melting pot. I do too. Works very well, Phil. Oh, 25 and 32 were banned. Didn't know that. Ever play with an Indian trade? A 20 gauge smoothbore flintlock seems to be the most versatile today. It is. My favorite one of that genre is the Thule to Chase. I've had an English. I've never had a Northwest trade gun. I always wanted one. But my favorite is the Thule to Chase, and it is a 20 gauge like that. And I have hunted with it. Love it for squirrels, rabbit, and then you can drop a solid shot in it and take big game like hog or deer down here in my neck of the woods. Super versatile, and it is where the modern single shot, our granddaddy and all had single shot. That was just one step away from the old trade gun. It just popped in the back and put a shell in instead of loading it from the front. But yeah, they're very versatile. And I have found whenever you load one and you're trying to get the best accuracy out of the round ball, load it and then put a card in, like you put between powder and shot. Put a card in and then put the patch round ball on top of that. It seals better, and it seems to have more accuracy that way. At least in my cases, I have found to get more accuracy that way. Randy, hello there, and congrats on the 03A3. Thank you very much. I'm tickled to death. I went out and shot it, and it made me look good. I took it to the 50-yard range and I put up a big old blue and put me a target on it, and all shots were on the pasty, like an inch and a quarter or less, with my eyes at 50 yards, about that much lower. I mean, that's minute a deer. out to 100 yards this minute of deer. That's all I want. And the game plan is early in the morning. Me and Bear's going to the woods to see if we can get some meat out of it. We're going to try. Yes, the Roger and Spencer is available secondhand, but finding parts for it are just difficult as all get out. Well, hello there to South Georgia. And in Nite, good evening. I hear you. Out of production. Oh, getting your 1949 Ithaca up and running. Awesome. $800 for a secondhand and $1,600 for original. It truly is amazing how much, you know. Have you ever had a Boker 2020? I have not had a Boker 2020 folding hunter. I had a Boker Barlow, tree brand Barlow, back in like 7th grade and fell in love with it. And but that's the only Boker that I can point to that I've ever had. They're good knives. I've known people have had them. I haven't had one. Quick question, sir. Which would you prefer in an off-grid situation, an 03A3 or an Enfield 17? Both would be awesome guns to have, would be very accurate and usable. I don't know. Of the two of them, due to my experience, I would say the 03A3 just because that's my preference. But I would not feel unarmed with that Enfield 1917 either. How about the Adams repo? I've seen where they're starting to come up with those, and I understand they're getting into where they're making early production runs. I would like to hold one of those and try it out. The Adams was a very interesting gun and was very popular. The Kerr revolver was very, very popular during the times of Confederacy. I'd love to see a replica of that made. But it had a side hammer on it. I think that's what scares the production people because they understand the geometry of making all the inline hammers. When you start making a side hammer, there was a company years ago that made a replica of the Colt root revolver, and they didn't sell that well. And I think that's what's kind of hurt that idea. But yeah, the Adams would be really interesting. Christopher Evans, good evening. Do you ever do much rabbit squirrel hunting with black powder? Yes, quite a bit I've done with that. I love to shoot rabbits with a cap and ball revolver. And once hunting season is over at the end of this month, there's a great big old sage field that Bear can take us to, and we could sneak around that right at dawn and look for them bunnies sitting there. They get out there and they get out in the sun, want to warm up. That's perfect time. I want to take Stormborn out and pop a couple of bunnies with it. And then if we get lucky and get one, me and Bear will do a bunny cooking video. Probably bring out a Dutch oven or something and cook rabbit. But and as far as squirrel hunting, I've had flintlock squirrel rifles, but I just really prefer a flintlock Thule to chase. It's just a smoothbore shotgun and load it up and squirrel hunt. It's just so much fun. Especially when you pull the trigger and you hear the boom and the cloud you can't see, and you listen for the thump when the squirrel falls out of the tree. What fun older cartridge would a guy opt for? Early 1900s Alaskan Trapper Woods Bum for a breech loading side by side. 5070 government would be available at that time and would definitely put a big whop in the big creatures you got up there. 4570, of course, that was available at that time. And side by side 4570s did exist, and for many years, Navy Arms imported a side by side 4570. So William, that's true, but the one that Bear's talking about, his is a P17, which is 30-06, and my 03A3 is a 30-06. So the rounds interchange. The gun's the same. If it's in British, it was a P14 and 303. If it was the P17, which was American rifle 30 caliber model of 1917, fancy word for it. Actually, at the end of World War One, 2/3 of the U.S. military was armed with a P17, as opposed to the 03 Springfield. We didn't catch back up till after the war years and get all the 03s into service in time. And by World War II, of course, they were being, the Grand was the standard rifle, and we didn't get rid of the 03s until really after the war. There were a lot of guys still preferred the 03s over the Grand. So. Yes, outdoor. It really is comparable in size. Right there. I mean, it's about 2 handfuls, a little bit. So it's like a biltong. It's basically what it is, a biltong knife. But razor sharp, good steel. And you saw that in that video. It does a real good job at doing little light stuff like that. Yep. Single shot, yes, Gray Wolf, but like I said, 45-70, 38-55 was real popular. 45-70, 50-70 government. Kind of where you want big bore, easy to get ammo. So, and you got to remember, in 1900, the new Darling cartridge was the 30-30, which was 30 caliber Winchester, was considered a super flat shooting rifle for its day. See. I hear you. DJ234, good evening. Marvin Carpenter, good evening. Yeah, you got to have sanding and finishing supplies and practice ahead of time. Back whenever I was getting into muzzleloading stuff, you had all these kits. And people that had never assembled any kind of weapon or refinished any kind of weapon were trying to do it. And they were putting, $400 or $500, which was money back then, into a high dollar kit and thinking, I'll just throw it together all over the weekend when I'm off. Yeah, that, and then when you saw it on the range, you knew that that's exactly what they did. And then usually they would end up trading it off to somebody who had knew what they were doing, and they had stripped it all the way back down and start from scratch and refinish it. And about the time it started really looking good, somebody had put a lot of time in it. Marvin, it's 19 degrees in Spencer, West Virginia. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. 30-30 is still walking on. Oh, good. You got you a stainless Remington. Awesome. Hello to Frigid, Oregon, Tiny Titan. Good to see you back. I got you. Stainless Remington's the last resort. I got you. I remember many years ago, a good friend of mine, that we were talking about some movie we had saw, and it was where they were trying to flush this old guy out of a cabin. And he said, I can just imagine if they came out after you, they'd be, ARs, AKs, and flintlocks. If you were going to hold up and you done shot everything, what would be the last one you'd line up? I mean, the last one. When it's over, we know it. But what would it be? It's a double barrel black powder 10 gauge. And he said, and what load would you use? I said, if I was aiming down the hallway, yeah, sewing needles. Yeah. I said, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. You got one of the neck knives. Yeah, they're real nice. And it worked really well. 1738, good evening. Linda, yep, true. Some people want to have all kinds of old stuff. But when you are old, it ain't that old to you. You remember when you first got it. So, oh, well, thank you very much, Striker. And thank you from Downriver Bushcraft in Michigan. Thanks for tuning in. 3855 um, is a really good cartridge to work with. When they modernized it and changed the case a little bit, made the 375 Winchester. Remember the Winchester Big Bore, a 94 Winchester? All it was a really a modern loaded 3855. Its performance was better than the 3030 in that form. And they just didn't want to bring it out and say, hey, we're going to bring the 3855 back. So they changed it and called it the 375 Winchester. But it does a really good job. William, I don't know what the price is going for right now, to be honest. Wife bought it for me for Christmas as a Christmas present. So I'm not going to ask her, you know what I mean? Honey, how much was this? Why, you thinking of selling it? You know what I mean? 35 years, 36 years we've been together. You know what I mean? So thank you, baby. Love it. And I do. I really do like it. Don't say nothing. Yeah, Patriot Preacher. I've had like three 3855s. I had an original Winchester octagonal barrel model 94 made in 1900 3855. Oh, that was a sweet shooting gun. Had a little bitty tang sight on the back of it, and it was a sweet shooting gun. Exactly. Justin, 3855, so you can swap back and forth between black powder and smokeless, depending on what's available. Charles Martin, doing good. Thank you. 375 Winchester. That's correct. That's what it was called. Okay, Bootleg Mike. Hello from Germany. Well, congratulations on being married 40 years in December. Congrats. Well, I mean, the thing about that 3040, the Craig, its pressure is well within that. It's got that one lug, but it's within the pressure of it. I mean, you got to remember when the U.S. government adopted 3040 Craig, they tested that gun extensively in all kinds of conditions. And they even with dirt in the barrel and firing it, and it passed to be adopted. So the 3040 is a really good cartridge. It's greatly overshadowed down here in the United States by the later 30-06 and etc. And so it kind of, when the road parted, and these are now hunting cartridges, and these are military cartridges that kind of got left behind. But the 3040 Craig is a good one, and you really shouldn't worry about it as long as the gun's in good working order and you're using correct pressure ammo, because anything you go buy on the shelf is a light load. I'm going to tell you right now, they got scared years ago, and they have backed down any kind of antique caliber, whatever. Even the 44 Magnum, when you go back and look at the velocities and the pressures in 1980s, what factory production Remington was, or Winchester, or whatever. And you look at them numbers, and then you come to modern time and you look, and it's about 20% reduction because they're scared you got granddaddy's antique. You got that original Craig or something from back there, and they're scared of it. So they've slowly dampened it down. Same thing in America. When you go to get 303 Brit, it's really a weak load compared to what the 303 was. And they've even done that to some degree with other calibers because they're trying to they're afraid you got an antique. They would have done it with a 30-06, but it's still such a viable hunting cartridge that they really can't. The hunters would notice it immediately. But if you got great granddaddy's gun and you've never fired a 30-40 or you've never fired a 38-55, you won't notice it's about a 20% reduction. So, Blue Catfish, married 45 years. Congrats. Bear, Patriot Preacher's asking if you're looking for the lid for the pot. True. That would actually, a 30-40 and a Winchester high wall would be pretty interesting. You'd have complete seal up, fully supported cartridge. Might be a way to go. That would be kind of cool, a 30-40. I had a 30-40 Craig carbine years ago that somebody had bought surplus, probably about 1948 or 49. And it got passed down through the family. And I had a friend called me up and said that he had a bolt action rifle, a carbine, and it was box magazine, held 5 rounds. Well, I was thinking 03 A3 Springfield. And he said it's 30 caliber round, again, thinking that. And I said, yeah, bring it over. We'll take a look at it. When he pulled it out of the case, I knew it's 30-40 Craig. And I said, nope, I don't have brass for that. We got to get brass for that. And that was in the days before internet. So we had to pull out my catalog and order it from Winchester. Call the phone number, get a hold of somebody, have them see if they had it in stock, and ship me some stuff. And had to order dies and everything before we could get that rifle going. But it performed like a 308. So it was really nice. Justin, I want to say it was, but I don't know right off the top of my head. Rolling blocks were made and everything up through 7 millimeters, Mauser cartridges, all kinds of rim cartridges. I mean, there were many, many armies of the world that used Remington rolling blocks. And I know that the 30-40 was hugely popular in Canada, and that the 303 was hugely popular in Canada. And I had a rolling block in 303 one time. So, yeah, it's very possible they made it in 30-40, especially if it had been a government cartridge. So, yeah. Michigan Silverback, good evening. Yep, you made it. You got a 7 millimeter rolling block. Awesome. Good night, Kent. Be safe. Okay, Bucky. Justin, go check out Google. Yes, they will. That's one of the things. They will handle the modern pressure. And I believe if you did 38-55, you could probably load it to 375 Winchester pressures in that gun, because it would handle it. Because the 375 Winchester was a slightly different case, but it was really the 38-55 is what they're going for, just modernizing it. So it wouldn't be a black powder cartridge gun, and they could put modern ballistics in it. Well, Gary Brown, I'm glad you enjoy it. I hope you have many years of adventures with it. Blue catfish going to be 66 in March. Awesome. It was made. All right. It was made in that caliber. 30-40. Awesome. Sir Malcolm, well, I'm glad to hear that. I hope you enjoy it. Get you 158 Remington to try it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Oh, yeah, they did. I know for a fact they did 50-70 in rolling block. There's a picture somewhere that I've seen of Indian scouts. The Apaches that were helping the government hunt Geronimo. Different kind of Apache, different tribe of Apache. But I remember seeing a picture of the Apache scouts that helped catch Geronimo, and about half of them are toting Remington rolling blocks in 50-70 because they gave them 50-70 trapdoor carbines and that, because they would have surplus ammo available for that, but the government had tooled up. Well, now we've moved on to the 45-70. Well, all them rounds are sitting in the warehouse. And so we used it as support stuff, prison guards, things like that. So, yeah. Uruguay 7 Mauser saddle ring carbine. Nice. It needs a barrel. I got you. The last rolling block I had came out of Egypt back in the late 90s, I think it was, where they were 43 Egyptian. And I think it was $165 for that Remington rolling block full-length musket. And I got it in, and they said the barrels were garbage, and they weren't kidding. I mean, you look down that barrel, it was just, and nobody had brass for 43 Egyptian. You couldn't do anything like that. But Dixie Gun Works had 50 caliber cadet Remington rolling block barrels sitting in a barrel, literally in an old wine barrel sitting there at Dixie Gun Works. And they listed them for years in their catalog for like $35. And so I unscrewed that barrel and screwed in one of those 50 cal barrels and took 348 Winchester and cut it off to length and made a cartridge, and then used a 50 caliber Lee reel rifling engraved at loading bullet in it. And that's what I shot in it. And I took 2 deer with that thing. Turned into a 50 caliber carbine that was short and handy. So it shot really well. And of course, somebody traded me out of it. So. Yeah. Gray Wolf, I hear you. When I took the barrel off, you're gonna think I took the rear side off. I got the rear side up here somewhere in my collection. But the barrel was so far gone that I had a hoe handle break, and I took the hoe head, which was a square shaft, and I pounded it into the end of that barrel. And I used that Remington barrel as a hoe handle in the garden for like 10 years. Just leave it propped up. So it was a Remington barrel with a hoe attachment to it. It was totally useless as a rifle barrel. Terry, that sounds practical. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but you can also make 410 brass out of 40, I think it's 44, no. 444 Marlin can be fire formed to it, and I believe 4570 brass can be fire formed to it. There's like 31 cartridges that can fire inside the chamber of a 410. And I believe it's 444 Marlin, which is a 44 Magnum double length. That might, and we've made 410 shot cartridges out of, I think it was 444 Marlin, or it might have been 4570 before. I think it was 444 Marlin. And so load it with a light load. What we did was we put a powder load in it and then press like a 1/2 inch thick block of wax into it, make a wax plug, and fired it, and that fire formed the brass, and what came out of the gun was 410. It'll fit in there, and it's going to be a single shot to come in and out anyway, so you ain't got to worry about all kinds of that. But it would handle it, and you could load 410 in that. Orness Outdoors, good evening. True, it's safer to reload because you can always dial it in and make it. Reloading is always the most effective way to get accuracy for hunting and etc. Because there's so many variations in so many factors. And when they make factory ammunition, it's the common denominator. But when you pull the trigger, it's fire form to your gun. The most accurate brass you're going to have is what just ejected or you pulled out. So when I was doing long range competition shooting out to 1,000 yards, I never used factory ammo, and it was always fire formed. I fired it at least one time in my rifle before I reloaded for the target range, so it was fully fitted like a glove to my gun. Matt Thompson, good evening. So other than gun stuff, what everybody else doing? Are we getting out and doing any camping? Yeah, I know it's cold. It's cold down here, but this is the camping season and stuff. Or what kind of projects you got going on? In the wintertime. I know people that have been working to get gear put together or repair gear or whatever. I've been compiling recipes. No, don't get excited, but it's recipes to put into videos for you guys. And so I've been going through and gathering up recipes from various places and family books and professional books and everything else, and sound like that. I could do that in a Dutch. So I'm getting them all together. I'm going to get back to doing Dutch oven stuff real quick. Good night to Austria. Be safe. Building a hammock stand. Awesome. Sir Malcolm, that is very true. How much they've turned around and figured out that Great Granddaddy knew. It is amazing. Okay, JBK Singer, you got the new 36 Airs gone. Awesome. Jewelry polish on the gun and cartridge. That'll work well. No, Hippo. There's not going to be. Bear is doing a cookbook. All Blackie's doing is a video series. I'm doing cooking in Dutch ovens for you guys. And so therefore, in fact, I got another one that was gifted to me here recently. That's this 10-inch that is a Old Mountain is the name of it. And needs a good clean up. It's been out in the garage type deal. But the seasoning on it is righteous. It was used by somebody in Boy Scouts for a Boy Scout troop. And my good friend Sam Batchelor. And he called me up and said, look, me and the wife can't do it anymore. And I got 4 of them. And I want you to come get them and get them out there. I went, okay. So I went and they were very kind to gift that to me. And so I've got to clean that one up. We're going to clean that up on camera real soon and get it into the thing, because I like to cook things like pie, stuff like that in a 10-inch as opposed to the 8. The 8 is perfect for me, and I've got a deep and a regular one, 8 that's for me and maybe one other person. But if you're going to do pies or rolls, something's going to rise up, a deep is by God better. And I've got a 12-inch deep now that I'll be doing cooking for those. But of course, some of this stuff has been a while since Blackie did it. So I'm doing it behind the scenes, run it through, make sure I got all the steps, and I still remember what I'm doing it, because it is late in the day and the hair is gray, and make sure I hadn't forgot a step and get it up there. Cedar Simmons is in the house. Mike Simmons, 923. That's Cedar Simmons, guys. Awesome dude. I went up and spent some time with him. We got things in the works. Just hang in there. What's your favorite shelter for high winds? Here in Utah, I seem to be struggling more with wind and rain. I like a diamond plow point because I can put that point to the wind and divide the wind away from me. That's just the best. Any kind of lean-to shelter is really like a sail, and you start getting any kind of wind over like 10 miles an hour, and it just wants to blow in or whatever. But a plow point will let it cut around you, and so that's my preferred big wind. Now I do, and I'll see if I can do that real soon. Do a video showing how you can take a 10 by 10 tarp and make an enclosed tent out of it to get you out of the wind whenever. That's the big thing for the day, is keeping you out of the wind whenever you're trying to sleep and everything else. Jim Survival, good evening. Tad, Blackie, do you like the M40 mist kit? Love it. It's a fantastic kit. I've got mine hanging right there, and that's usually, if it's just me going, that's going with me. My favorite take and cook just for me mess kit. Okay, catch up. Oh yes, that's true, Sir Malcolm. I'm helping Bear out of being his professional taste tester, looking to build a small cook box to keep in the car. Good idea. Cool. Gear maintenance season. Just checking the seam sealer on my last tarp. Awesome. Woo, making a Osage orange bow. Very beautiful. Very, very unforgiving. Good luck with that. I had a friend that he busted like 20 of them before he ever got the first one to really work. That's not a jinx on you. It's just he didn't have the skill to begin with, and he thought he'd just put it together like it was an old hickory bow, and it wasn't. But once he learned to get down to a given layer and stay with a given layer and not weaken that layer, he finally got a really good bow. Fresh cornmeal, that's cool. Okay, Scott. Yeah, a 0 degree bag, good. Mike, my girl's been looking for a black powder rifle in 32 or 36. Which would you suggest? I like the 32. They're about equal, but I would say the 32. Well, no. If the price is the same, go for 36 because it's easier to find ramrods to go into a 36 than it is a 32. But the 32 ammo is available. You can get molds for it, make it. And their CVA makes a little small gun in 32, or they have in the past. That was usually a good choice for a starter squirrel gun in it. Converting a flat bottom boat into an electric drive. Awesome. That'll be cool. Tarp shelter is a lot like a covered wagon. Yes, it is. We used to make hoop shelters. We'd bend over saplings and stake the tarp down under it. Problem with it is, in heavy winds, they'll just do that because it's a flexible frame, you know. Hippo, let me see if I can. Hello, Grandfather. Let me see if I can do that video here real soon. I'll see if me and Bear can wedge it in some of our activities and do that. It's a real simple, but once you see how it does, it's like a piece of pie where it's wide at the back and it comes to a point in the front. You come in and out the front. The two front doors are staked down. You just open it up and go through the slit between them. And you come back, and then the back is wide, and you lay crossways in the back of it. So it takes about a 10 by 10, and I've done it out of tarps, of canvas tarps in the past. I don't see why you couldn't do it by something lighter, but Let me see if I can get that done, because to me that's the best. It encloses, it shuts it down. You've got enough room to put like a Trangia or something in front of you. You do have enough airflow. Don't worry about suffocation in there if it freezes to the ground. See, other than that, it's the best way to go. Mitchell Metheny 382. Hello there. Jim Survival. How's weather in your neck of the woods? Right now it's 35 degrees and it's supposed to be 24 in the morning. And this Arctic's going to move out. There's going to be a little bit of moisture roll in. And then on Saturday late night or early Sunday morning, they're expecting snow down here. So, hoorah! If it does, Blackie intends to be out there in it and get some video of it. We shall see. Hello to San Diego. Good evening. Jim Survival. I bet it is in West Virginia. Oh, Sir Malcolm, CBA got a 28 gauge lightweight turkey. Awesome. Yes, the Keebler is a fairly well-known gun, and etc. So yeah, 15 miles from me, I'd go knock on the door, say hi, you know. Donald Johnson, awesome. Michigan Silverback, brother, I don't mind if you tag me. Go right ahead. You got 1,000 subs. Awesome. You know, the getting these recipes done, getting the videos done, as far as that, I want to circle back some of the basics, and because there's so many people that have just found my channel and they start watching it. Some people will do deep dives, and although I know I have done God knows how many videos, like yesterday's video about finding tenors and stuff like that, to me it's important I keep throwing that back in there, because there's always going to be somebody just starting out that just found me. And I don't want them to think I'm just doing advanced techniques that they don't really have a basic yet to apply to, nor do I want to be so, stuck in this that I don't bring forward some of those little things I know, tips and tricks. So I got to kind of bounce around a little bit every so often. So y'all can expect me to start doing some basics this spring. I'm going to definitely be doing a couple of, I may do another class, a fire class or something like that. And we'll see. I'm trying to come up with enjoyable content that is not just something to put out there to get me a paycheck, but actually something of substance. That's what I try to do. And so a lot of you guys, you'll ask me about like that tent. And yeah, I think I did a video on it, but it might have been 8 years ago. And so I need to do another one to talk about how I would set up in the cold wind, how to block off the maximum wind from me. And so I will be doing that as quick as I can. Have I ever made black powder? I did back in the 80s with a group, but I don't do it as a rule. But the good news is there are a bunch of channels out there that do take in depth and will show you how to make it. And if the prices things are getting, yeah. So having a flintlock and the ability to make black powder and a bullet mold, you're going to be better off than a lot of people. Mountain Man Hairface, you made it. Cool, Michigan Silverback. Good to know. William, Blackie, how's your book coming along? I'm just about hit a wall with that. I was working on it, and then I'd get distracted, and then when I had the stroke, I really got out of it, and I have played with it, etc. And I don't know what I'm thinking of doing is, you've seen what Creek Stewart does. He makes those small little booklets, and I thought about that might be the better way to go instead of trying to just write a big old tome. And basically like my Master Woodsman class. This will be how to build a fire. And this little book will be how to do a bow drill. This little book will be how to set up tarp configurations, and just do it like that. I don't know. I'm still playing. I got several people kind of prodding me a little bit. Come on, Blakey, come on. So I'm doing the best I can. I'll get around to it. Old man of the forest, good evening. Kind of cool in North Carolina. High today was 39. Low tonight is supposed to be 19. Stay warm. Yeah, synthetic whale oil works good for that. Oh, yeah. Mountain Man Hairface. The last weekend for the Flintlock and PA, yeah. And it was going to be cold. Yeah. That means there won't be as many people out there, too. And the deer don't like it any more than you do. So on cold mornings, they'll get up and walk around. I remember an old guy said, how do you get your deer every year? Well, I get up before daylight, and I go out there and I sit me a big old mug of coffee up on a stump and pour it full, and I back up about 100 yards and I watch and see which deer fights to get to the mug first. So they don't like the cold any more than we do. I think the only complaint I got about the videos is trying to watch them in order. If you don't watch them in order, because I jump around so much. It's one of the reasons I've started trying to refine the playlist, so that if you are looking for knot tying, there is a playlist about that, and about campcraft, about building things. Me and Bear talked about doing more of that this spring when it warms up just a touch. Me and Cedar Simmons have talked about doing a raised fire area, tables, chairs, food prep areas, and a permanent camp. How you can process stuff off the land and use construction knot and things like that to make things that you're going to leave in camp. So when I come back, I got a table, I got a whatever, I got a cache to keep things there. And so that's hopefully going to happen this spring. So, Common Sense Karen, good evening. I eventually want to learn to hunt, so my question is, what are the basics I should know? I have a lot of questions, but most importantly, the most affordable way to get started. The most affordable way to get started in hunting is to get a shotgun, because you can take just about anything with shotgun. Its only limitation is range. Shells are normally very economical for what they're going to do, and you have a high probability of scoring with it. Next, each state has a hunter safety program. Most kids, when they go through school down here in my part of the South, have to go through a hunter safety program. Your state may require you to do that. So I suggest you contact your conservation officers, game wardens, and ask what's required. Usually they have classes or something, or tutorials or something to help you out for wherever you're at. And that'd be the place to start. Learn from that, and then that should give you at least a good basis to build upon. That would be my recommendation. Then collecting and restoring lamps for home and office. Awesome. Those can be a real, down here whenever we have hurricanes, we might not have power for a week. So we have several oil lamps just for that reason, or battery powered. But just, collecting them is a great thing. But some of those things can be really expensive. It's 50 in Newfoundland, Canada, and it's 35 in Alabama right now, Jeff. So, Yes, that's true. I can make individual books and then later on make the one big E thing. Originally, my plan was just to take my videos and convert them, but YouTube removed that ability for me to take that and drop it into a word processor and therefore turn it into my text. So they removed that. Wasn't that wonderful of them? Charles Martin, have you ever done a video on debris shelters? Yes. Go look in the Master Woodsman series under shelters, and I do a complete shelter debris shelter build in that one. Good evening, Blackie. You ready for that cold coming this weekend? Oh yeah, I am ready, baby. And if it's going to be snowing, I'm going to be out there because I intend to be in the woods with a haversack, and throw me a shelter or something up and sit there and build me a fire and have hot chocolate in the snow, if nothing else. Hunter safety would be waived if you're ancient enough, correct, and if you're former military or law enforcement, a lot of times. But even then, I'd recommend it as a refresher course. When we were growing up, it was a part of the culture down here. You hunted, so you were taught how to make sure that there wasn't somebody beyond your target. There was no danger of hitting a family member or something that was on that side of the forest doing a deer drive. You learn your field of fire and everything else. That isn't true of everybody. They didn't grow up in a family that did that. So it's a pretty good idea to run through one of them courses. I taught it for a while, so it is a good idea to go look at it. Yeah, you can stew the whole bird. And then once it gets soft, just take a fork and divide all the meat off of the carcass and then add some rice to it. That works too. Hello to San Diego, California. Current temp is 70. Wow. How do you guys cook grouse sized fowl? What I used to do in a small bird, like a chicken or something like that, is I would break the breast in half and flatten him out and lay him on top of a grill or make a grill. And that where it was, instead of him being round, he'd open up flat. You know what I mean? Split the breastbone and just open him out flat and cook them that way. I've done duck that way. I've done, oh boy, I've done rabbit that way. I've done chickens that way because a lot of times you'd have wild chickens that got out of somebody's chicken house and went wild down in the woods. Back before we had coyotes, we got coyotes now, so you don't find many wild chickens running around. But as a boy, I can remember being squirrel hunting and look up, here come a leghorn, coming down the thing. And my orders were, if you see one and he's out of the pen, pop him and bring him back to the house. So there's more than once I went squirrel hunting and came back with a chicken. So, yeah, Christopher, you're correct. Many states have wildlife resource apps for reviewing hunting, renewing hunting license and all. Be a good place to start. It's called spatch cooking. Spatch cooking. Okay, didn't know it had a fancy name. We just called it splitting him. But RS Outdoors. Good evening. Well, it's been an hour, guys. I think we're gonna have to call it quits a little bit early. I will be back on next Thursday night. I will be back here. But whenever we went out for supper this evening, Miss Hope was having a little bit of a upset, and I need to go check on her a little bit. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back on next Thursday night. Go ahead and leave your comments. Thank you so much. And I really look forward to these talks. Till next time, stay warm, stay safe. God bless. Safe journeys, guys.